All right. Let me start streaming. I'm gonna stream. Hold on. Me trying to figure out how Discord works. Share screen. I want to see my preview now. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm streaming.
See.
All right. I'm gonna do this. We had a long talk today. So hopefully we can get through this quick. Before we start, I just wanted to go through a quick slideshow. Just explain what we're gonna do, what we're not gonna do, who I am, and everything. So let's begin. So thank you all for staying. Today we're gonna be doing creating and import models into Ultra Engine from Blender. This is kind of important because games need models, or else your game will look like Quake, which you don't want in 2024. All right, so real quick, who am I? Just so anyone knows who I am. I'm Reed Blue. I have 15 years of game development experience. 5 of that is from Source Engine. I did a lot of mods such as Blue Portals. Worked on helped like Left 4 Dead mods for a little bit. I did mostly mapping, and then I transitioned to coding, and slowly I started to do a little bit of everything from textures, materials, and models. I've been in the community for 10 years, so since 2014. So I have both Flavworks experience and Ultra Engine experience, and I have a game on Steam called Cyclone. It's kind of like Portal and with some Park Tour elements to it. So if you like puzzles or you like to just fly around and be cool, that's a good game for you. And I got some screenshots of some works I did. This is Cyclone. This is Blue Portals. This is some map I made in Source Engine. This is Leadworks right here, and this is my Portal 2 map a little higher. When you can find that in the Steam Workshop if you want. All right. So the focus, we're gonna create a gameplay prop using Blender. We're gonna create like a little switch lever thing. We're gonna create the UV. We're gonna bake the AO. We're gonna use Gimp to do texture sheets, and we're gonna export it to GLTF. And then we're gonna import to Ultra Engine and make it game ready. What we're not gonna do, we're not gonna touch animation, and we're not gonna do any programming because otherwise it's gonna be really long. And some people want it in Lua, some people want it in C++, so we're just not gonna do that today. Why should you use GLTF? Well, GLTF makes things easier for both the artists and non-artists to access that mesh. So, quick background. In the Source Engine, to get a model into the Source Engine, you had to write a QC script, compile that script, and all the models and physics data was baked into that model. So if you wanted to change it, you had to either go back to your source, or for the most part, what most people did was decompile that model and then make the edits, recompile it, and put it back in. Using GLTF, you have direct access to your model, so you can put it back in. You can actually load that GLTF back into Blender, edit the properties you want, and then re-export it out. You don't need your .blend file. It's important you have
Oh,
it.
wow. I didn't know. I didn't know you can load GLTF in a Blender.
Yep, you can
Nice.
load GLTF models in back and forth and that's why Josh chose GLTF. And if you want to learn more, there's that link right there. If you want to learn more. All right, disclaimers. My workflow might not match your workflow. I use Gimp and Blender. They're free, open source, multi-plat. Anyone can learn from this video and just jump right in. Doesn't matter if they're on Windows, Mac, or Linux. If you like Substance Painter, you can use Substance Painter. I just like this workflow, although it's not the most modern workflow. It works for me. All right.
You don't use Inkscape for SVG vectors.
I don't like Inkscape. I was trained to use Illustrator, and when I went to Inkscape, I got very frustrated very fast because that's based on Corel Draw. So I use Infinity Designer for my vector work. But you can use Inkscape. If you like Inkscape, use it. My philosophy is use free open source software unless it sucks.
Yep.
So
yeah, Inkscape is open source and cross-platform. Yeah,
Yep.
and I like the setup of Inkscape because you can make a grid system. You get exact points with a
Yeah,
grid.
yeah. So again, if it works for you, it works for you. It doesn't work for me, so I'm not going to use it. So, and that's pretty much why I said I'm going to use Blender Gimp because that works for me. If you like 3D Max, use it. Okay, so now we're going to start the demo. So I got my Gimp, I got my Blender. This is an existing Blender file. I chose this file because I have everything set up. By default, when you open Blender, you're gonna have a cube that everyone loves to just delete. I have a template set up that the cube's already deleted, the camera's already deleted, and I'm set up to bake an AO map, which I use cycles. And I go think bake, and I set this to ambient occlusion. I think there's other settings here.
Hello,
Hello.
excuse me. I don't see the application.
You don't see my application. Let me check the stream real quick.
For me, it says your stream is paused. You minimize the replication.
Oh,
Here we go.
Hold
Here we go.
on. I didn't change. Hold on. What? Because I minimized. I picked the wrong
Yes.
window. Give me 1 second. All right.
Reaper, what do you say? What is your alternative for Inkscape? What is better than open source than Inkscape?
When it comes to open source, can you see my screen now, real quick?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay. I don't know. I was looking for.
Okay. Affinity this one. Okay. Let's go.
Yeah, Infinity. This. Yeah, it's like $25, and you pay. It's like a perpetual license. Like you pay for each version, but you can keep the version.
Yeah, that's okay. I also use for music productions. I use NCH Swift Sounds, Wave Pad, and Voice Pad, and all that. Yeah, with a pad. Yeah. Right.
Okay. All right. So yeah, this is Blender. For those who didn't see, I have it set up so the default cube and camera are deleted, and I have it so I'm set up to bake my AO map with cycles. And I chose this file because we actually have some models here for size. These are some models I created. I have buttons, I have boxes, I have doors. I have this like little push button here. We're gonna create like a lever, like a little switch that can be on and off today. So that's what we're gonna do today. All right. So we're gonna create. So what I like to do before I create a new model, I like to make a new collection, and I'm gonna call this switch. And we're gonna create a box by pressing Shift A. And we're gonna create a cube. All right. And then we're gonna size this cube. I'm gonna use this push button as a size comparison. I'm gonna go to wireframe, and I'm gonna size this down. So it's like roughly around the same size as the button. There's probably a better way of doing this, but also, for preference I like grid snapping. And then when I need to get very, very detailed, I turn it off.
Yeah, snapping.
All right. I probably could have did something quicker, but whatever. Okay. Actually, I don't want to do this. I want do that. I want to do that. Do. Wireframe and that. Yeah, that looks about right. How big am I? I am 2-1. Also, something to keep in mind when going from Blender. Blender uses the right-hand system, or the thing that LevWorks doesn't use. The LevWorks and Ultra Engine use the left-hand system. So pretty much, if you stick out your left hand and you try to make the axis shape, your thumb will be Y up, and your index finger will be Z forward. Blender doesn't do this, so it uses Y forward and Z up. And forward, when you export this, forward is going to be Z negative. for some reason. And that looks
Actually, you can change the axis in Blender. At least you could earlier.
but that's another setting, and by default it's this way, and it kind of makes sense as an artist because you're mostly gonna look at the back of something. You're mostly looking towards something, like, oh, I'm gonna put this on a wall. Like imagine like a giant wall here. So if I were to place this on a wall, this is what it's gonna look like. All right, so we got our basic shape here. So we're gonna add a modifier. Oop. No, not that. We're gonna add a bevel.
Side question: do you think 1 unit in the double float unit space is 1 meter in real world?
Oh yeah, so really quickly, I have my setup. Go to world settings. This should be world. This should be like scene units. I have it set to metric, unit scale 1, rotations degrees, length is meters, mass is kilograms, time is seconds, and temperature is Kelvin. That's default. That's not really important, but so pretty much 1 meter in Blender. I have it set up so 1 meter in Blender is 1 meter in the engine. So
Nice.
yeah, so
Like in Ultra also.
yeah. So we're gonna do that to get that shape. So we're just trying to make our little switch here.
Just saying this makes a game development more intuitive because you can relate on the real world.
Yeah, Ultra Engine, I had a conversation with Josh. Ultra Engine is actually real world scaled. A lot of games actually lie to you about scaling. They make the doors like really, really small or make you very, very small to make the world bigger, or vice versa. But if you were to make a room, make a room in Ultra Engine, put it on a VR headset, you will notice that like your door height will actually match your door height. It depends where you live, but it will actually match your door height in your actual real living space and in game. So that was actually an interesting conversation I had. I found it interesting. All right.
Yeah, and actually the definition what is what depends on how deep your game goes into like a microscopic details or into large universes.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have to start with some measurement.
So right now I got the base, and I'm creating another object, and I'm just going to. It's probably a better way of doing this. There's always a better way of doing things in Blender, but I do things where I have more control. Bases. I'm gonna create this. Boop. I'm gonna.
Maybe you could say what you are actually trying to do, or what you are doing. What is the goal of you doing?
So we're going to create like a little lever switch that can go up and down. We're
Right.
gonna make this both for a first-person shooter and a VR project. So in a simple FPS game, I just want you to press E and the lever can go up and down based on the component. And in VR, I want it so if you grab it, you can like move it that way. So but right now we're just trying to get like this basic shape down. So boop. We can hide this right here. Got some clipping here. I got some bleed through, but that's okay. You see why in a second. Actually, I'm just gonna scale.
Yeah, that's actually some issue I have. Now your rounded thing doesn't snap
Yeah, but
exactly.
it's not gonna snap exactly, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually cut into this a little bit. Right now I'm just trying to get my size proportions. Oh, it's right here. So I just want like something like that. Yeah, it looks good. Yeah, so as you mentioned, this is gonna cut into the model, but that's gonna be okay because what we're gonna do is that we're gonna make this into its own chasm kind of thing, and that's where the little switch is gonna go. And we're gonna cut a hole in here. We can do a boolean. I don't know what we should do.
Does it mean that this boxy thing is not snapping grid
Well,
off the grid?
it doesn't matter because it's all gonna be parented to this, and this
Yeah,
is
okay, yeah, you're overlapping, but you don't have exact coordinates.
yeah. Models can actually overlap. When I first started modeling, I thought every vertex should be connected, but what you're doing is that you're just increasing your poly count limit, your polys, and it's kind of a waste. Sheet smooth. It's split. So that's gonna be, and then we can, whatever. Okay, so I'm gonna join these together. So these are one model now. I'm gonna hide this.
Ah, okay. In Blender, you can do like a CSG
Yeah.
joining.
So
Oh,
these
nice. It's very
these are
we.
separate objects right now. I'm gonna combine everything at the end. Right now, this is just, they're all different models right now. So we're gonna just boop, go like that. Actually, yep. Connect this, and then we want to extrude this. Create like a little chasm right here, like that, and then we can see how deep we want this. We want this to be like that deep. Now, this is in the way. I want to see if I can do a boolean trick here. Yes, I don't think so. Maybe if I do it the other way. Boolean's a little tricky. Boolean. Intersect. Difference. Nah, I don't think it's gonna work. Because no, it's doing actually the opposite.
And if you work things like this, you will end up with lots of triangles, which are unnecessary.
Yeah, I'm not
And
gonna use the boolean. This is
but there's also some kind of function in Blender, like clean up triangles or something like optimize. I don't know.
yeah. I mean, I actually like to just manually do things because that's how I work. All right, so we got this. I'm actually gonna duplicate this. I'm actually gonna make a new collection, and I'm gonna call this switch parts, just in case I royally screw up. Just gonna put that there. All right, because now I want to apply this modifier. So right now it's beveled, so like I can change this and the bevel will automatically recalculate, but I want to bake this bevel in, and I'm on the fence if I want one segment or two. I'll do two. It's a simple model. And then I want to go to this, I'm going to go to this little arrow, hit apply. So now it's on quads now. So now I can delete this. And I'm going to then, okay, go like this, go extrude, we're gonna go like that. Again, I'm doing things a little bit weird, so it's probably a better way of doing this, but see if that's actually, yeah, that should be good. Okay, boop. I found if you manually manually manage your quads, you can actually have more control over your mesh. So you just gotta make sure that there's at least 4 points because we're working quads, not triangles. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4. Or you don't want any n-gons, which is more than 4 points at this point. So that's 4, that's 4. So we're gonna go solid. And then I'm just gonna go edge select. 1, 2, 3, 4. Boop. Boop. And there you go. So now we create a hole. So now this can actually has a place to go in. You just gotta make sure that we have no overlapping. Looks like we got. I might have to redo things, but
Oh, you do it this way. I would actually have used the car function in Blender.
there's
Okay.
yeah, that was the Boolean function, but I don't know. I don't know if how that works.
It's pretty easy.
Well,
you select the object where you want to apply the boolean.
well, I did
And
try that earlier, and it wasn't giving me the results I was looking for.
It's in the engine, right? The result. I had this with the boolean function in networks back in the days, and this is the reason why you need to triangle this. Then after it.
I'm gonna see why.
Yeah, I think that's the difference between coders and artists. Coders want everything optimized, and artists just do and stuff. Coders want to make sure that you always optimize the triangles.
As
Okay,
artists, you optimize them as well.
That's not my. All right, that's my problem right there. Okay. That's my problem. Okay. Okay. Sometimes when you first do something, it's not like the greatest thing. So.
But now my sharp eyes notice some kind of weird gap on the top.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to fix. We want everything to be uniformed. And then we want this to be aligned with this line right here. So this. So this is Y. Global. Fix it. Nope. On axis. Then we'll go down here. I might just merge this now. Okay, so now this should be lined up with that. Go 7. Oop.
You have to be careful when you merge things in Blender. They sometimes tend to like stretch things over corners. Which are not.
That's because your scale is not. Your scales are totally different. So before we merge anything, we're gonna apply scale. So, all right. So that's actually what I want, but I actually want this to connect. So I'm gonna copy this part. Copy this part. I'm actually gonna delete these faces because delete these faces, and then see this and this are different scales. So I want to just apply rotation scale, apply rotation scale. And now everything's uniform again, and now I can join these together. Don't worry about that, that's just, we'll fix that later. Actually, we'll fix it now, because that bothers me. Alright, so now...
What was shading? Like some roundy shading was funk shading or what?
Yeah. So that, now, we just go like this. We go like this. Now this is going to be an n-gon right here because we have multiple points here. So we got to figure out a way to fix that. Right here. Oh, no, because it's going to have... Actually, is that a possibility? If I were to go here, here, it'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it'll have 1, 2, 3. Yes, we're going to do it this way. Doesn't look right, but yeah. Yeah, that doesn't look right.
Well, what a mess.
1, 2, 1.
How to fix?
1, 2. That looks good. Not really, but we're just gonna roll with it, I guess. Yes, I'm not seeing anything. Alright, so we created our little switch here. Probably should have UV'd it, but whatever. Now we're gonna just create the little latch thing. So for this, we're gonna create a... Yeah, let's make it a box. Why not? Make it a separate object. You want this to be a separate object. Here. A little bit of space is good. So now this little dot's the origin. We want it to line up with the origin, but we don't want the actual mesh to be at the origin. So we want that to be there. We don't want this to have a face. And we're just gonna create something a little ridiculous right here.
Well, in general, I place things at the origin when designing, and I move the camera away. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why we want it at the origin, so we can actually rotate at the origin. We want things to be easy for the programmer, or else the programmer's gonna come back and be like, "This model's garbage and unusable." So
Yeah, exactly. That was the thing I was facing in my gravity and games. I want to slice things. I don't want additional transformations. I just want to slice the origin.
okay, well, I want something like that, but I don't want it to. Let's do a bevel and see what. That looks kind of okay, but I need it to be like. I think. All right, I know what I need to do. I know exactly what I need to do. I need it to be a little bit smaller here. And then I need to extrude this, be bigger here. And then I can make my switch.
You could make the moving of the lever also in physics.
Yeah, so in VR, you want it to be physics, because you actually want to grab the lever. In a first-person player game, you could probably just get away with the turn command. So, not digging it. Doesn't look right. Sometimes you just do things and you expect it to look good and it doesn't. maybe if I were to do this, maybe if I were just to make it like a handle like that, and then put like a cap on it.
Mm,
I'm trying to make
think
it look like it's an example model, so it doesn't have to be like amazing quality, but it has to like look like what we want it to look like. So what happens if I apply bevel? No, not boolean. Bevel.
your first idea, like the cross switch, was like more like a main switch, huge bang around. This is more like a little adjustment.
Not sure if I like that. Kind of wanted something like a T shape.
I think it should be a round knob to fit in the hand.
Well, the thing with round objects, round things are just squares, are actually polygons. But I don't want this.
Yeah, but there's several ways to make like in the ultra also. You can make a different algorithms create a sphere.
No, we can do it because maybe that's what I want. I was hoping that the bevel would actually make it more of a rounded shape like that.
Yeah, but it doesn't look like a familiar. I don't know. And usually when you face these things in real life, it's either like a perpendicular bar or a ball,
Yeah.
red ball.
Yeah, well, we'll do a cylinder. Let's see if that works. Again, this is why I'm calling this a live demo than a tutorial, because we're just trying to figure it out together. Yeah, we want actually this to be the little lever. Alright, let me hide this. Let's work on. Oh, you know what? I'm just gonna do this. And then push this out. And then we'll have smoothing. You don't want... Yeah, that looks a little better.
Yeah, that looks good. Some kind of like a camera.
This should be pulled out a little bit.
Yeah, that's actually like a tripod adjustment lever.
Yeah, it still looks like something usable. Okay. Might be a little bit too high poly for Might be a little bit too high poly for like a first person shooter game, but for VR you're gonna actually see it. So
Well, I don't think Ultra has any problems with high poly count, and you can also lower poly count in Blender. I think there was some function like.
Well, you don't want to make polys that like you will never see because it's just a waste. Explain.
Yeah, but except if you've sent a video from Josh, in VR you can go really close to things and see all the details.
That's not long enough. So you want it so... I think this needs to be out more. What's the rotation? Alright, and then you just pull that down. Okay, so... pretty much going to basic shape. I just want to make sure that. I think that looks good. At least for an example model. Chat. Yep, that looks decent. Again, might be a little bit too high poly here, but
Yeah, and I don't remember there was some kind of funny thing in round objects. The texture or the texture mapping plays a big role to make it look more round. Game, even
yeah,
low poly.
yeah. That's I think that's the normal map that can do that. We're not
Yeah, normal map. Right.
we're not gonna bake a normal map here. Because it's gonna be like a little flat. I just want to make sure before doing baking.
But you know, in old games like Doom and Quake, you had to do that because the computing power needed low poly.
So I just wanna. Oh, don't do that. Okay. I think that's okay for now. It's my push. I just need my push button as a reference. Yeah, that's okay. All right. So now we're gonna save our progress. We're gonna call this switch. We're gonna call this switch lever. And we're gonna call this switch base. Switch base. And we're gonna put this in switch parts. Now we're gonna do everyone's favorite thing. We're gonna UV it. I'm gonna start with the handle first because it's gonna be a little bit easier since it's made by one shape. Now you might think, oh, this is UV'd. No, not really. It's not usable. We want to be able to color the handle part and then differentiate from the rod here. So we're gonna go to edge select. And there's probably some AI tools that do this for you. I haven't had. It's kind of weird because what it does is that you load an OBJ of it, and then it would unwrap the OBJ. But then when you import it back into Blender, you lose your quads. Everything's triangulized, so it's not really useful. At least for my experiments. So we're just gonna do it manually.
Question: do we still need this tool, Ultimate Unwrap, which we used in LEDWorks?
I never used Ultimate Unwrap. Again, when I did anything with like easy to use unwrappers, they always backfired. A good selection I came across in YouTube is that if you hit select and you go select sharp edges, that's normally where you want to make your seams. So mark seam.
I just remember in UO 3D, it was very easy to
See,
UV map things.
That's a garbage UV. Oh, let me try applying the size.
Yeah, and now Blender can do also some UV mapping, but not sure how easy it is. I don't know.
Well, I'm trying to unwrap this model now, and it's not cooperating. So, oh, maybe because I need to make this.
Excuse me, you have never problem with handgun in network?
Normally it's
Okay.
fine, but just trying to figure. Oh, this is probably why right here. Again, UV is not my favorite part. It's actually the part that makes me.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Right.
I have no I always forget how to make textures in Blender. Somehow very
Let me start this over.
difficult.
Theme. Usually, what are we looking like that? Why is it? Something's not right. I made this off of one. Something's not right.
Yeah. That's why I hate textures.
It's just the UV mapping. What happens if I do like an auto, like... Oh, I can just do that, but not really. And then I can just... Yeah, it's not gonna be that critical, so... And we'll just isolate the handle.
But in Ultra, you can do vertex gradient. I asked for it and just did it. And nice. So you don't need textures all the time. We can assign colors to the vertices and they nicely gradient into each other.
I want this to be its own thing, so not the handle. I mean, the smart unwrap, it's fine what it is, but I kind of wanted a better result, so let's try to unwrap this. Yeah, let's just... So, we're not here all day. Let's just keep it like that. That's my UV map. And we're just gonna isolate... Everything's just gonna be... This is not good. This is really bad because this is a circular shape and it's like being projected by an oval. So I'm just gonna... Actually, you know what? I'm just gonna take all this and do... And then I'm just gonna project from view. It's more what I want anyway. And then I'm gonna select all this. Project from view. It's okay if this is smaller. Alright. This is all... Because I want this to be like a red color. So this is going to be one part. So this is all gray, so we can just paint this all gray. Not really worry about it. But this is all that. Alright. Let's give it a new image. We're going to call it switch. Actually, I'm going to make this lowercase. We're going to make this a 2K texture. Because a 1K texture is kind of like a world texture. We want our models to be a little bit bigger. And we're going to do color grid so we can actually line everything up. You're going to see how that's going to help. So now we're going to create a material, name it switch, make this white. And we're going to add a material, add the image. So open, and in its memory, switch. And now we can actually see how our UV is looking. So normally you see like this like warping here. This is like not good. In my case, I'm just gonna paint it a solid matte texture, but I probably should fix it because it's not that great. Maybe if I do a
Yeah,
unwrap here.
that's some philosophy I was thinking about. I think with PBR and global illumination reflections, you don't need that many textures
Yeah, oh yeah,
because
that's better. That's way better. Okay. So I'm gonna just
yeah, and I think yeah, Klepto said he doesn't use any textures for his ocean renderer. It all is PBR.
does that give me a better that gives me cleaner results, so I'm gonna keep it. I'm just gonna right. So this part's gonna be red, this part's gonna be like a gray metal. Alright, so that's UV'd okay. Again, might have its issues. Oh, this is broken. This has some warping. So I might just smart UV this real quick. Yeah, that looks way better. But I'm still getting... So what are these shapes now? I have no idea what these are. Because if this is the pipe, if that's the pipe. Oh, that's why I'm having such a hard time. I have a cut here. That's why. I can fix that real quick though. Faces. Actually, yeah, faces. That's why I was... Alright, I'll bring that forward. That where it was. And I kind of want to rebake.
Now I know I'm a coder and not an artist.
Yeah. Alright. Scale this down. And this looks a little bit too big. We're using this color because we want to actually get it around the same size. And that looks good there. So this side's going to be red. And this side's going to be this metal color. And it's going to be important to know where each part of your geometry lives when we build the roughest and metallic map. So I'm going to call this UV'd. And we're going to do the base now. I'm going to... Don't mind the broken stuff. See now, this is why we have to UV it. This looks garbage. So... And this is not usable. So we gotta UV it. So so I can actually see, I'm gonna remove the material for now. Go away. Okay. And I want this. Here. Boop. Yeah. Box around that. I'm gonna actually let's do this here. Right here. Mark seam. Alright. So that should be, so if I hit unwrap, well, give me this. This is nice, but where is this one? Just A. It's not lined up correctly though. Yeah, because it's actually no. This is my faceplate right here that I just unbaked. This is, I think this is this, which is fine. Because what we can do is we can actually move this in here, and then we can size this. Probably shouldn't be like that, but we'll get to it. Now we have to do the UV inside here, so boop. Go here. Seam. 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 Yeah, this is why people ask for thousands of dollars when you tell them to make a model. And it's worse when it comes to animations, because some of this can just be...
Yeah, I see it now. So this whole UV mapping, that hell.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and we're
no.
not gonna, I don't even think this is gonna be considered a good UV map. Like, I expect people to be like, oh, you should have did this way, you should have did that way. And, yeah. So, UVing is an art.
I was thinking, if Ultra is really so powerful, could we maybe tessellate our models and just use vertex gradient instead of anything? At least for some plain objects, not for very crisp detailed objects, but for some plain.
I don't know. Again, there's algorithms and AI tools to help you unwrap your model, but results may vary. So let me. I don't think I need it. I'm just gonna make a seam here just to be safe. And then I want a seam here. And I'm gonna make a seam here. I don't like this bend here. I might have to make seams here. That. I made one thing better, but wait, I thought this was. Yes. So why is now that being? Oh, there we go. Okay. That might look good. Switch. Now we have to scale everything. And we also have to share the same UVs as we have to consider this too. So this is important. we want to be able to paint this. Everything else is just going to be metal, so... Actually, you know what? Let me scale that. And you want to use as much as the sheet as possible. But if everything's relative... Okay.
So why don't you use an actual like real texture? Why only this template?
Well, I'm gonna bake the UV soon, so I just want to make sure that that everything looks, and this looks distorted right here. This looks distorted. I might have to rebake this.
And baking, isn't that also kind of obsolete? Because we have already GI.
No, what we're gonna baking a texture AO map. And you also bake normal. You can also bake normal maps too. Alright, that looks better. I don't like the amount of cuts I had to make to do that, but I guess it's fine. Using as much as... Alright, so using as much as texture as possible. Just need to see... Alright, so if I can squeeze this in, I might have a winner. This doesn't have to be big because it's just going to be a piece of metal. We want it as... Again, you want this to cover as much as you want. Kind of want all my... I kind of want all my stuff I want red in one place, so put it there. Put that there, put that there. Alright. I'm gonna just scale that down a smidge so it's not at the very, very edge of the texture, just a smidge. And smidge here, I don't want that to touch. Because your AO is gonna, because it's gonna, you don't want any points touching really, because there's gonna be some overlap when we bake the AO. So we kind of want, and these are all the internal parts, we don't really care as much. So kind of want some space between there, there. Alright, this is, push this up. Now I'm gonna have these bleed into each other because they're the corners. Like that, like that. Alright. Alright, I don't hate this, so that's usually a sign when that we're ready to bake. Alright, we're gonna bake them up. I'm gonna bake it now. So we have two models sharing one sheet. This is what Spider Pig was actually talking about. We don't right now. We have it set up that each like the switch knob and the base are going to use the same texture sheet, but they're going to have different materials. And in the future, we kind of want everything to have it to be a shared material, so the material only gets loaded once into memory. So let's just move this a little bit out of the way.
Wait a minute. If you had separate objects, the UV mapping would be much easier. You wouldn't have to map actually.
Yeah, so that's the base. This is the handle. So, but we're gonna bake everything in one sheet. So, we'll bake. It sets ambient occlusion by default. My template has it set up to default. We have the material set on both the switch and the lever. So we actually have the the switch. All right, let's bake and precaution. Let's actually recalculate the normals real quick because we built some faces and sometimes the normals are wrong. So let me forget what normals. Recalculate outside. Mesh normals. Recalculate outside. Sometimes this kind of screws up. Right? Let's bake. And my graphics card's gonna rev up. Now in Ultra Engine, you can actually have the ambient occlusion map loaded separately, but I actually like to modulate the colors. All right, we have a lot of problems here. I know what the problem is. My switch part, I have this little camera icon. We're actually rendering all my backup parts, which we don't want. So we're gonna hit the little camera, and we're gonna render the switch, and we're gonna try it again. Also, you notice that, well, let's see. We'll see what it does now. All right. Oop. All right.
So do you use F11 in Blender to render it?
No. I'm pressing the little bake button, but there's something. I'm gonna move this out of the way, because what it did here is it baked a shadow here, and it's causing some issues here. For some reason, I don't know why. What's going on? So we're gonna rebake. I like it on. See, here's the thing. I like it on the switch here, but I don't like it on here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna just bake over this. Instead of clear image, we're just gonna bake on top. And if oh, that's why I'm getting that lip. I'm overlapping here. So I might have to, so what I might do is, I like this shadow here, but I'm overlapping. See here? I gotta fix that. So what we can do is we can hold it.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of wondering. When you move these borders in the UV map, shouldn't they snap? Like you shouldn't make any human mistakes. or snap to like 10?
You could I normally do with this little snapping thing, but you don't want like it depends like how it is. Not all UVs are gonna be the same, unfortunately. So I like to snap at first, and then when I want to get into like the finer details of things, then I gradually move everything.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm comfortable with like a human adjustments and human moves the mouse. I always see this is an error to be correct by snapping.
Yeah, well, the only advice I have you is not to make errors. Things happen. Sometimes I do something weird, stupid, and I'm like, why did I do that? So we're gonna rebake this again. And I actually want the shadow from the switch. Or I can go into Gimp and stamp out. Alright. Yes, that's what I want. That's what I want. What I don't want is, you can kind of see it. There's like this extra shadow here. It might not come up when we apply the color to it, but you can see it. So I'm actually gonna just not bake the lever, and I'm just gonna. Oh, I didn't clear it. Let me do a clean. Let me do a clean rebuild first. Let's do a clean rebuild.
Yeah, so I don't like baking. Baking is kind of like a fake thing. It makes things looking good while reducing
Well,
the amount of reality.
Well, again, if you have Substance Painter, you can just all you need is UVs. Since I'm using Gimp, I kind of need a UV to know what's what. Okay, so that's
Yeah. But one point is everything should be done with dynamic lighting.
okay. So I don't want to bake the lever. I don't want to clear the image. I probably could have just baked these two planes, but whatever. And we're gonna bake this, and this should be our final bake. Perfect. That's what I want. Where's my lever now? Oh, there it is. Alright, that looks like a lever. So now we're gonna save this image as, go textures, switch. Let's save this as AL. No compression. We want this to be as raw as possible. We'll save it as RGB. That's fine. Now we want to export the UV. Switch. V. Alright. Modeling is temporary done. Now we're gonna go to Gimp and make a new file. Actually, we're gonna make a new file. We're gonna make it a 248. Nope. Open. No, let's just open the image. It's just easier. The projects. Models, example content, textures. Switch. Where's switch? There it is. And there's our AO that we baked. I'm gonna open as layers. Alright. This is our AO. This is our UV. call this diffuse. Make a new layer group. Call this diffuse. I'm gonna drag that in there. All right. I'm gonna open a previous texture sheet. We're gonna do the push button because we want it to mimic these colors. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make our mask. We're only gonna do a diffuse. We're gonna do a metal, and we're gonna do a roughness. But I actually want to sample these colors. So this is gonna be like our metal texture. So we're gonna go color metal, and everything is gonna be metal. So we can just but this is gonna be like a plastic, so we want this to be like a red plastic, so we're just gonna go with this. And we're gonna multiply this.
Doesn't Blender have something
Burn Gimp.
like physical materials like leather and glass, stone, and
Yeah, we're gonna do that a little bit. Now we want take this. I want to shrink this. We're gonna do it by let's do it by 50. See what happens. Shrink 10. Yeah, let's do 10. I want in this orange here. This was just called color A because it's not really. I'll call this color B. Okay, so that's gonna be the orange bit. So that's our diffuse. Oop. I always do that. View. Reset. So now we're gonna save as or export. Switch.png. You can also name like switch diffuse. Actually, I'm gonna do that because that's what I did here. Switch diffuse. Just want to make sure I spelled it right.
just imagine how an AA game would cost if making one switch this amount of effort,
Replace.
making all the assets for game huge.
We're gonna see how everything else looks. Maybe it'll look better with the shade smooth. Looks kind of weird. But we'll figure it out, I guess, when we get there. All right. Now we're gonna do the metal map. So I'm gonna take our old color map. New metal, paste. Now, whatever's metal, it's gonna be white, and whatever's not metal, like the handle, it's gonna be black. And that's our metal map. Keep doing export as. Oh, actually, can I export this as? Let's Metallic and roughness ash should be a grayscale texture, so let's export it like that. Alright, let's go to shading. There's a color map by default. Let's add a image. Open. Switch. Metal. Set this as, I'm gonna set as non-color. And we're gonna go color, metal. And I want this to be plastic. I don't want that to be metal, I want that to be plastic. So, color B.
Actually, metal should have some kind of proper like granularity, so it's not always completely smooth. Some specular refraction.
Export as. I'm just gonna re-export it. And we'll just reload it. Metal, switch. Switch metal. Alright, that looks a little bit better. So this is plastic, this is metal.
Yeah, looks like 1970s.
Yeah. So now we're gonna make our roughness. And I'm actually gonna borrow the color values from this model right here. So roughness, if it's white, it's very rough. If it's black, it's not rough at all. So we're just gonna copy this. Roughness A. So and we're actually gonna make this like a plastic, so should it be white? I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, it should be white. Roughness B. No, because that means it's very rough. So this needs to be actually black. So this is right. That means this is not rough at all. This is mid-tone rough. This is very shiny. So export as rough. This. Same thing. Image texture, open, textures, switch. Roughness. There we go. There we go. So you got your nice shiny plastic, you got your nice shiny handle here. I think that handle needs to be a little bit more rough. Yeah, I might add a little bit more roughness to the handle here because I think that looks. I like the shine here because it reminds me of.
Yeah. The handle should be more like rubber.
Yeah, because I like that. Yeah, that's. Yeah, I'm gonna make this like. Actually, I might make it the same color as the metal roughness, but because it's not metal, it will actually look like a plastic. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make this pretty much the same color as that. And we're gonna, texture. Switch. Yeah, that looks better. That looks way better. Object. shade. I think shade smooth is already applied here. Yep. All right. So one more thing I want to add. I want to try to make a normal map. So that's pretty much like just what it's gonna look like. One thing I want to do is I'm gonna try to do some sort of roughness map, a metal map. So I'll go here. Normal map, normal.
Did I see it right that all your beveled corners are now normal mapped to look round?
Well, I didn't do normal. I did some smoothing. Color.
But your beveled edges don't look like they are sharp anymore. They look round.
Yeah,
Like
I had some smoothing, and now I want to add. I want this to pop out a little bit more. I don't want this to look flat. It's a little jagged here, but
yeah. Okay. It's a completely smooth. It's kind of like a smooth in one axis, but not in 3D axis. All right.
yeah, it kind of looks weird when you looks like here, but it's only. I probably would have made this a little bit more hard poly, but I kind of just want an example model. I didn't want to be here. I didn't want to take 6 hours making sure like every.
No, I was just wondering if you can do with normals this kind of smoothing of the light.
Oh
So that
yeah, you can make
edges-
you can do crazy things with normals. Make things look rounder or smoother than what they actually are. Add like weird dents make dents into like surfaces that require no additional polygons. There are a lot of tutorials.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they're like for either other purposes or the game engines or whatever, where they go, oh well, I'm gonna take a barrel and I'm gonna like make it very very high poly. I'm gonna like crush it. I'm gonna distort it. I'm gonna put dents in it, and then I'm gonna take that bake and make a low poly version of it, but it will look very close to the high poly version, but with less polys, and that's what you use in your game.
Yeah. That's how. Yeah.
I'm just making a model that we're just gonna throw in the engine. No color. Okay, now I'm gonna go to. If I can remember how generic, normal map, and that looks good. And I'm gonna export this as and normal, and we're gonna load this up. Add image texture. Where's my normal? Where's normal? There you are. And we're gonna go to that color. Alright, something's wrong here. Oh. You can't do this. This is like invalid. What you need is a different node. You need this normal map node. So we're just gonna copy it. Hopefully it works. Nope.
Oh, now we have a Blender visual component.
Tenant space. Oh, wrong thing. There we go. There is a bevel here. It's just very minor. Oh, because I have there.
Now I'm
There
wondering
we go.
that.
Now we have this like nice bump here to differentiate the
Yeah.
plastic from the metal. That's
Right.
what I want.
Okay, but now your bevel is completely sharp, not round anymore.
Yeah, we gotta fix that. Shade smooth. Might not be. Might just be the That is a problem, huh?
Mhm. Oh,
It's probably something. Can't take notes. I mean, we probably don't even need the normal. I'm gonna see how it looks in Ultra Engine. If we have this issue in Ultra Engine, we'll just remove the normal map because I don't think the normal map's gonna be. I don't
Your
think.
your shade is smooth.
Yep, it's shade smooth. It's the normal map because if I take it out, it goes away.
No, okay.
Yeah, so it's probably something with the renderer. I'll just pretend it doesn't exist and put it in the engine. If it looks like garbage, I'll just take it out. Alright. So I'm gonna call this done. If yeah, so we're gonna everything's set. All of our sheets are set to non-color besides our actual color sheet. Switch. Fuse.
all right. This was a very nice demonstration
Well,
how
we're not
much.
done yet. We gotta now we're preparing to put it in the engine. So
All right.
yep. Make sure that this is switch.
Just saying, so far it was a very nice demonstration how much things you need to consider when doing models. And
So what we need to now do is make sure when we import it in the engine, it's gonna have these double faces. So you gotta go to viewport display, turn on backface culling, so it doesn't do that. Save. All right, we're ready to export. So we gotta make sure our model is square. So if you press, believe, I think it's item. This is squared 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1. Yep. So that's where we're gonna be. This doesn't look. This should look. You know what? I'm gonna maybe I'm gonna increase the sharpness of here. Mark as sharp. We'll see.
Red Blue, you know do glass material for Ultra Engine.
I'm sorry. What?
You know do glass material for Ultra Engine.
In Blender, I haven't figured out how to do glass materials. I usually just do them in the editor. It's with Ultra Engine, it kind of like ignores most of the special nodes. What's important is that you just assign your texture sheets to the output shader, and Ultra Engine will do that. But if you try to do any special node work, like this normal, like the normal here, I have to do a special node here, but it doesn't looks janky here.
Okay.
I'm just gonna hope that in the engine it will look better. But I'm gonna export this out because model is squared. It's facing down. GLTF. We're in our example content. GLTF bin textures. That's what you want. We're gonna put the textures in textures. We're gonna go selected items. I like to select the item and then export it. Data, mesh, apply modifiers. You want that. Animation. Sometimes when I import a mesh, it will think it has an animation, so just want to turn off animation because we have no animations. Okay, so we're gonna call this.
yeah, we had that issue today. Actually,
Switch.
missing bones cause the redness. Then the engine thinks they are verticals.
Okay, switch base. Switch base. Export. And we're going to do the same thing with switch lever. So make sure that's that. And all your settings will save. I think you could probably press this, but I like to do it every time so I know how to do it. Not apply. So we're going to call this switch lever. Oh, probably something I should also want to do, just to keep it clean. If you go to your, what's this? Your object data properties, it will have like a dumb name here, and you actually will see this in the editor. Just change it. It'll look a lot nicer if you just change this. So that means I have to re-export everything, but that's okay. Bin textures, switch base, export, export. Lever. Okay. Moment of truth. Let's load the editor. Let's go to our models. Let's go to example content. And there it is. Actually, let's open it in the editor. Let's open in the editor. I did something weird here. We have something's not right here. See, like all this like blackness. Something's weird. Something's up.
No handle.
Well, no, the handle's here, but something.
Ah.
It's not. Let me see what's going on here.
Yeah, Ultra makes things very shiny.
Let me. Oh, it's the normal map. Yeah, it's not. We're not gonna use the normal map. We're just not gonna use the normal map. Okay.
Oh wow, this looks actually pretty close to the blender.
Yeah.
Look at the corner. Oh, the corner. Gone.
I can't like move it. Oh, there you go.
No, it's come on.
I can't zoom in that like that detailed.
Yeah, but okay, but I already see it.
You can,
It's not
you can
it's not
edit
better.
material in Ultra Engine.
Alright. So this is great. This is great and all, but we have a problem. It's using a PNG. So we're gonna save that. I'm gonna save this. I have an extension you can get off the forums where all you do is right click, convert to DDS textures. You wait. You wait. Alright. It converted the normal. No, it didn't. Why? Didn't do what I was supposed to do. Hold on. Alright, you know what? I'm gonna re-export this. Hold on. Without the normal map, since that's causing us problems and we don't really need it.
What was the need for DDS? Was it like a lot or what?
DDS is the texture format. In games, you don't want to use like PNGs or like because they're
Right.
like not great for. They're not optimal for like games, so you kind of want to convert to like DDS or bases or KTX. And it all depends on what, and choosing your texture format, it all depends on what platform you're going for. DDS is PC, basis can be good for VR.
So DDS kind of like a native compressed format, whereas PNG, which is also compressed format, but not native to engine.
Yeah. So you can use like PNG images for like your UI elements and such, but it's not good for like textures. If that makes sense. Base. I just want to fix this because it's why.
Yeah, but okay, doesn't matter because there is an add-on for Gimp where you can save as DDS.
I don't know why it looks so dark. Weird. All right. Convert to DDS. Why is it not converting to DDS? If not, I can just... Yes, this is... Alright, we're gonna do this manual because this is not working. We're just gonna do this manually. So... which is fine. So we gotta find our texture. Wait, maybe... No, I did. Switch. Alright, so this is our diffuse. That's probably why, because I have it listed as diffuse. We're going to set this as BC7.
What are those shaded, rounded things? Are they like inner baking? Or...
So in the model, when you go like shade smooth, it's actually something in the model. So
No, I mean the textures are showed. You have like this in the middle. You have these two rounded things, and they are kind of shaded. Is this a baked shadow inside the lever thing?
there's a shadow at the end. And this is our what Blender does. This is something I want to point out. What Blender does, it actually combines our separate metallic maps and our roughness maps into one sheet for us. So we can just do this. And we can save this as... I'm making an extension that you can just right click and it'll just do this for you. But it's not done yet, so we're just going to do this. Alright, there's our DDS. Now we're gonna swap these DDS. Yeah. The reason why I didn't convert is because I have it looking up switch PNG, and I don't have a switch PNG. I have a diffuse. I have switch underscore diffuse, and it was getting lost. Alpha textures are possible in Ultra Engine. I can show you that real quick in a few minutes. Switch diffuse, browse, switch roughness. All right, so there's. Should this have a shape? Collider. Let's just add a collider just for funsies, I guess. Box. Yeah, that's good. And it's gonna actually, I don't know why it does that. And it's gonna be like, oh, are you sure you want to save the collider? Yeah. Switch. Browse. Switch. Where's switch? Switch. Raw. Browse. Diffuse. Looks, and we're gonna add a box around this. I don't know why it darkens, but whatever. I don't care how it looks in the preview. I just want it to look good in the world. Yeah, it looks good in the world, so that's all I care about. So if I were to go open a, just gonna open, not this map. No, that's fine. Let's launch this map. So, actually,
Does Blender actually have PBR?
yeah, so the EV engine in Blender is PBR. But yeah, that's our switch right there. Can't see in the back, but that's our switch. If I were to, this was a VR player because I was playing with VR yesterday, so it's just add a first-person player script to it. First-person controls, and we're gonna run. And there's our switch. And then the idea is if you press E on it, it'll go up and down, but that's programming. But yeah, if we put our a little concerned about why it's dark.
So you in programming you basically just rotate entity.rotate.
Yeah, so you can rotate. So with the lever here, you can use a turn. You can use the turn command, or you can put a joint at its
Yeah,
origin.
yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, you can put a joint at its origin, and then you can rotate. If I
Yeah, I could do it physically based. Of course, it's
yeah,
just like
it's not.
stuck or something. Yeah, that would be
Yeah,
nice.
and you
Yeah,
can rotate like that. So you can use turn, or you can in VR. You kind of want to use a joint. In non VR, you can just get away with turn. And because we built colliders around them, if there's tools show collider,
By the way, does VR have force feedback yet?
force feedback. It has a rumble commands in the controller.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, that's something you would code. It's like when you grab something, you can send a rumble feedback to the controller, or rumble a little bit. But yeah, this looks in line with that. Just make this sure that's a little bigger. But yeah, that's 2 hours later. That's how you get a little Switch model in your game, I guess. It's a little bit odd. I kind of messed up because I was supposed to just right click this, convert to the DS, and I was supposed to convert everything automatically. But because I messed up in my texture naming scheme, it didn't do that. So there's that. But yeah, that's how you would. I think we succeeded. We made a model in Blender. We put in Ultra Engine, and it works. And we don't need the normal map, so because you're not really gonna see that like this.
And actually, I liked it that you made some human mistakes because it teaches us also
Yeah,
because nobody's perfect.
yeah,
And
like a lot of things with these like YouTube videos, it'll be cut up and like, oh, it's so make it like so easy, and I'll be like, oh, I'm getting this. This means that I
yeah,
forgot to.
but that's not reality. In reality, everybody uh, fucks up things.
Mhm.
And then the point is how to figure out what you did wrong, and you showed that very nicely. I like it.
Yeah. Um, yeah, so the answer to Matt's question, you can do glass in Ultra Engine really pretty easily. So I got this nice glass material here. And if I were to just drop it, there's, see, that's glass right there.
Okay.
There's no refraction setting yet, but in the future you'll be able to like make refraction effects. But to make a material transparent is you would just mark it as transparent and adjust the alpha. All right. Any questions before I end the recording? Concern, questions? I guess.
Maybe one general question:
Mm-hmm.
do you think the life of artists be made easier?
I'm sorry. What was the question? I'm sorry. I just
Uh,
heard.
could the life of life and the work of artists made being easier? Because right now it seems like lots of effort.
Um, um, that's like the thing with like artificial intelligence. So as an artist, I would love to have just an algorithm that just unwraps my UVs for me, and
Right. About
yeah,
UV. Okay, that's the thing.
yeah,
AI UV. Good.
yeah. So yeah, well, UVing is when we actually went over here and then we tried to make everything fit in this square box, and then we tried to line everything up. It would be great if the art with UV is that you want to use as much space as possible, but you don't want to like have it a complete mess that you don't know what you're painting. It's okay if you have like a very complex UV, and then your 2D artist just goes in Substance Painter and just paints where they want to paint. But there's side effects to that, and you have to like get a good workflow of using like algorithms or artificial intelligence to do your UV baking. And there are other plugins you can use in Blender to make UV mapping a little bit easier. I just did it this way because this is how I learned, and a lot of those plugins didn't really work for me. And all UVs are different. None of them are going to be the same. So you might have a simple UV. You might just make a soda can, and that's simple. You might make a box like this weighted box right here. This is, I had to make sure that all, I wanted to share like coordinates. I didn't want like to make a separate UV for each icon here and each corner here. So um, every model you work on is gonna be different, and you just gotta like
Yeah,
think
yeah.
about how you're gonna unwrap it. I kind of went in here and I didn't think about how I was gonna unwrap this,
Mm.
which was my mistake. But for the most
Yeah,
part,
and like I said earlier, I'm not an artist, but I have bought UU 3D, and I really found easy to make models ready for Letterx UU 3D.
well, luckily for you, there are
And
some sources that allow
so,
for.
so I have a suggestion for Repro.
Mm-hmm.
If you could make a dedicated stream about UV mapping, how to make UV mapping easier for everybody, because that seems to be the cornerstone, the most difficult part of art.
Um, if you give me, hold on, I think I can give you a link to a program I found. I think it's called like Atlas or something. I have to look it up. I don't have it on hand right now. So what that does is that uses, it doesn't use, I don't think it uses artificial intelligence, but I think it uses an algorithm to figure out how something should be unwrapped, and it doesn't always do a good job. So just keep that in mind. But there's tools like that. There's plugins for Blender. Um,
Yeah, and that's my kind of my distress, because as a coder, I now in Quake and stuff, they had super optimized UVs, super small textures, and every pixel was used to perfection. And yeah, and how to do that? How to do that? You need some kind of help, or do you do it manually?
uh, I don't know how to really answer that because you're asking me, can this be easier? And I'm pretty sure yes. I just did everything the hard way because that's how I learned. And it's actually, I think it's actually important to know like how to do it the hard way. But again, like I said in my disclaimer, there are probably better ways of doing what I did today. Um, I just didn't do them because I had an audience and I didn't want to take all your time. So um, yeah, so and again, it all depends. It all depends on the model you're working on. If you're UVing a dragon, that's gonna have its own like challenges unwrapping it. If you're unwrapping a simple cube, that's gonna be pretty simple. So um, but yeah, this was my workflow I did in Cyclone. I modeled it, I UV'd it, I baked it, I went in Gimp, I painted the texture, and then I put it back in Blender, and then I exported the model, and then I put it in the engine and saw how everything looks right. I built a collider, and that's pretty much my workflow. Um, yeah, so that's pretty
Yeah,
much.
yeah, yeah, and that was great. And I also like that you have like two separate models for the for the lever and then the
Yeah, you can make it like, you can make this one mesh and have it be an animation, but I didn't want to do animation. And for VR, you kind of want this to be its own entity. So in your code, you can say, "Oh, I'm grabbing the handle. I'm grabbing the handle bit. I'm not grabbing the base because it'll be kind of weird if you grab the base."
yeah, that's also something I have noticed when I have I've hired and had artists who make models for my games,
Mhm.
and the artists don't think like a game game movement. They just make a model, and it's too static. You know, I really want the artists to understand that. Hey, you should make your model of parts, not just one model, but parts. So we can use interactions and physical things to have each part separate from it.
Yeah, that's one thing I want to. If anything you grab today, I want you to understand like the connection between the artist and what the programmer needs. Because the programmer might need you to put an origin point somewhere specific in the model, or because it might line up with gameplay code or level,
Yeah, yeah.
or you know, like,
And I also understand the artist points because artists want to bake kind of shadows into the whole model, and that's not possible if he makes it a separate part. You know?
yeah. So I did the AO bake because that's what I did in Cyclone. But it's nice to have like and that's kind of like the style I wanted to go with. I wanted like a like old school source kind of feel to it. So I baked the AO, but Ultra Engine actually, you can actually, what you can do in Ultra Engine is you can actually load the AO. This is the occlusion. You can just have your color texture, your diffuse texture look like this, and then you can bake then you can just reuse this AO, and then you can just modulate it within the shader. I don't think that's really like practical because you're telling the engine, you're telling your GPU to do something where you can just bake it in and you don't need to include that texture sheet. That's why you just modulate it in Gimp. But for like a different workflow, like with Substance Painter or Armor Paint, you're only dealing with color and then you just put in the AO on top of it. So it all depends on your workflow at the end of the day. I just have this workflow, and this kind of workflow carries over from the Bing
Yep.
Pong shading of Leadworks, where I only had a color sheet, a specular sheet, a roughness sheet.
Everything depends on the game and the workflow.
Yep.
And
Yep. All right. Any more questions before I end this? All right. I'm taking. All right. I'm taking that as a no, so I'm gonna stop the recording. Thank you for participating. Again, if you have any questions or concerns or any suggestions, actually, if you like watch this, if anyone watches this and is like, "Hey, why did you do this way? You should have just did this way." That'd be great. We're all learning here, so yeah. So thank you for attending. I'm gonna stop the recording now.
Thank you.